Welcome back to the List Building Lifestyle. I'm your host, Igor Kafetz, and today I'm hosting one of the most notorious YouTube organic and paid list builders who also happens to own a SaaS company for real estate agents with over 15,000 paying customers. He is currently the number one Go High Level affiliate, which I find most impressive because everyone seems to be talking about that software. And he's got over 130,000 YouTube subscribers that he's able to monetize and manage into an email list, which, as we know, is the most profitable asset you can possibly have online. So please help me welcome Jason Wardrop. Jason, welcome to the List Building Lifestyle.
Igor, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's I'm actually excited to pick your brain because I know you've got a really cool strategy combining organic and paid YouTube in order to grow your list. Now, we're probably not going to touch too much on your affiliate side, although I think that's also extremely impressive, given the fact that you're in a very competitive space, the agency space. But to start off, can you give us the quick rundown of what's happening with your online business on the YouTube side? Because that's been an area of interest for me this year.
Yeah, man, of course. So, and honestly, like we don't have to dive into the affiliate side of things, but I will say this because I have built a list and because I've built it in the way of growing my YouTube following, like we're going to talk about today, it's allowed me to very quickly and easily become the number one affiliate at Go High Level. So it all comes full circle. The strategies work if you're, promoting a software agency, high ticket coaching, whatever it is. But at the core of it, like you need to build an email list, right? Like that's your gold mine. That's the traffic you own. You can send them to a YouTube channel, subscribe, a Facebook group, buy a new product that you've got, whatever it is, and you can kind of just guide and direct them wherever you want, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So right now, where's your focus? Is it on organic YouTube content? Is it YouTube ads? Like, walk us through the bird's eye view of your day to day.
Yeah, man. So I try to keep things simple, right? And obviously, this has been a strategy that's kind of evolved over time. I'm not one of those YouTubers that went from like 0 to 100K subscribers just like overnight. You go to my YouTube channel, the videos aren't like crazily well done in editing and all that stuff. It's just been like consistent building over the last several years. So I started in January of 2018. And the reason why I even started YouTube was I was in this mastermind and I didn't know it was a mastermind like with all YouTubers, but I started meeting all these other guys in the mastermind. They all had YouTube channels with over 100,000 subscribers. They're just these young, like 21, 22-year olds. They're telling me how much they're making from YouTube organic. And I'm just like, dang, that is legit. And I went and watched some of their videos and I'm like, it's not like they have anything like special. Like there's this one kid sitting in his bedroom in a tank top and you can see his bed behind him, like no crazy backdrop. Videos weren't edited at all. And so I looked at that and I'm like, if this kid can do it, I can do it. And I was like, if it's another way of like being able to like organically build my list. And at the time I was running a lot of paid ads. And so I was like, okay, I'm getting all these opt-ins, right? And I was then sending them to a webinar to have them buy something. But we all know like kind of typical webinar conversions, you're only going to get 2 to 3% of people that actually opt in, actually buying. So that means you got 97 to 98% that are not taking action for one reason or another. And so what I started doing is I was starting to build this database. I was like, there's a few questions that everyone has coming in. They're like kind of like the questions they have before they buy a product or kind of like different things like to break belief patterns. And so I thought, what if I just made videos? And this was originally all for real estate agents because I had a real estate software and I knew like they were asking questions like, how do I generate leads? What are the best Facebook ads for realtors? How do I follow up with my leads? And so what I would do is I was running the ads to the webinar to build my list. And then after they jumped on my list, I would send them a YouTube video hitting like the top 3 to 5 questions. And that was like initially it. Like I just had like 3 to 5 videos that I'd go through and follow up with them. And then as time went on, I would release new videos every single week. And I got to a point where I would have new videos dripping on these people. Like I'd have about 12 to 15 videos dripping on all of these new opt-ins. So then it was building my trust, credibility, rapport. But then also what it was doing it was almost like forcing engagement with my YouTube videos. And so then YouTube saw that and like, oh man, people are consistently watching these videos. This is probably like a legit good video for the term Facebook ads for realtors or how to generate real estate leads. And so I would start ranking my videos in the organic search. And then on my organic or on my YouTube videos, I'd have a link back to my webinar, so my opt-in page in the description, and then I'd pin it in the top comment. And so everything was like this full circle viral effect where I'd run paid ads, get them on my list, and then I'd send my list to my YouTube videos, and then the YouTube videos were promoting the webinar in like to get people back on my list. So then if people were finding me organically, they'd opt into my list, get into my database, right? Or if they were coming in from a paid ad, they get into my database and then I'd send them back to YouTube. And so it's just like it evolved into like this well-oiled machine where both parts are working together. And now it's at a point where like I've built up my YouTube traffic that I have literally millions of people in my retargeting audience that pretty much all my ad spend now is just retargeting people who have already viewed my videos. And so we all know that retargeting ads are much more profitable than targeting a cold audience that doesn't know who you are, right?
This is really interesting. So you're doing a lot of organic, but you're also backing it up with ads, and you're saying that it sort of feeds back into each other. So you end up building this huge audience, but most importantly, you end up building this big list.
Exactly.
So you've now been doing this for some time, because I know I've been seeing your ads for a few years, and you've been very persistent on my YouTube feed, although I'm not a realtor. But do you mind me asking what's like the rough ballpark list size that you were able to build with this?
Yeah, you say you're not a realtor, which I've actually in the last year and a half. So I sold my software company last year to exit that business, and now I've kind of converted into the high level affiliate space, and that's where I've kind of like focused now. And it was interesting. So back to your original question, I built up a list of 150,000 real estate agents. So pretty big list. I mean, there are about 2 million realtors in the United States alone. So as far
Dude,
as like real estate
everyone's a
marketers, I
realtor in
don't know if
Canada.
you're really
That's
with a
crazy.
bigger list than me in the real estate space specifically. And so now I've been like converting more to the funny thing that happened was I was doing all these videos to pull in my real estate clients, right? And the funniest thing was I was pulling in more marketers and agency owners than real estate agents because I would do these videos like how to generate real estate leads or the best Facebook ads for realtors. And all these marketers trying to start a real estate marketing agency were the ones that like 80% of those, my views were from the marketing agency owners trying to figure out how to do what I was doing so they could clone it. And so then when I got out of my real estate business, my software, it was just a natural transition because I naturally built this audience of marketers that now I just like refer over to high level. And so it kind of, I mean, it was luck a little bit, but it kind of worked out. And I've now built, I think we are about like 62,000 marketers right now on the list. So that's like the last year or so.
That's badass. I mean, a 62,000 person email list, even with an average of something as little as $10 per subscriber per month. I mean, that's gorgeous, just absolutely amazing. And congratulations on all your success, man. This is insane.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Let's talk about how do you like what needs to be in place, or maybe we can touch on some lessons learned when you've come up with the strategy, because I don't see too many people doing that. I don't see too many people run ads and try to back them up with organic. I usually either see somebody's doing organic or they're doing ads. There's not much of both. And oftentimes, just like you're saying, they're focused on their retargeting audience. They don't necessarily go cold. Now, for the last few years, I've been doing lots of cold YouTube ads, and my YouTube organic game was, I mean, just no game, just absolutely no game. My YouTube channel was dead. Um,
Yeah.
and more recently, I've been now kind of backing up my paid with my organic, start doing some YouTube shorts as well. So I guess walk me through this. How can I be more strategic about this?
Great question, man. And I think a lot of the reason why people either do organic or paid is one, people start out with organic. Like I have a brother, I have a friend that both have started YouTube channels in completely different spaces, but like they kind of blew up overnight. They're kind of like the YouTube sensations. They blew up overnight, right? And so
Wait,
when
wait. So you're telling me that your YouTube success runs in the family, or?
yeah, randomly runs in the family a little bit. So so like with those stories, when you like you make a few videos and after like 2 to 3 months you're hitting 100,000 subscribers, like you think that that's the only way and you don't really want to invest in the paid ads, right? Because it's just like, well, I've just done everything organic, why would I invest in paid ads, right? Whereas on the flip side, guys coming like from more my world where it's like you start out more with paid ads, you're just looking at that ROI and you're just like, I get great ROI, why would I spend time making YouTube videos and making content, right? And so I kind of approached it like, so I was doing paid ads for probably 2 years before I started organic YouTube, before I joined this mastermind. So I was building this list, and mine was more probably fear-based, honestly, of like, what if something happened? This is before Facebook started shutting down ad counts left and right. But I was just kind of like, this is my one traffic source. What happens if Facebook shuts me down? I'm screwed, right? And so I was like, I should probably diversify a little bit. And so I started building the YouTube channel, which luckily about a year and a half, 2 years in, I did get my Facebook ad account shut down, and I got it back luckily. But like for 3 months there, it was shut down. That was like my one traffic source, was paid ads on Facebook and Instagram. And so then because I had my YouTube channel, I was able to like, it was able to float me and able to like get still the organic traction because I wasn't diving into the YouTube ads quite yet. And so I was able to like keep my business afloat while I was trying to figure out all the Facebook advertising, ban policies and all that stuff. And so then as far as like staying consistent with it, in the beginning, I was, well, the first like 3 months, I thought I had to do a video every single day. So I was like hustling. This is back when I was like young, hungry. I was like doing anything to like actually like make things work, right? So I was doing a new video every single day, and I'm like, man, this is crazy. I'm going to burn out. And then I saw some YouTubers that were like successful. They were only doing 3 videos a week. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do 3 videos a week. And then it got to a point where I'm like, you know, I've made like 250 videos. It's like I've kind of run out of topics to create, and so I'm just making the new version of the videos I did last year. And so I'm like, I'm gonna cut it down to just 2 videos a week. And then now I'm even like, this next year, I think I'm just gonna do 1 video a week, just to like to keep the consistency of like posting and like being able to still deliver value to my audience, but without burning out, right? And so then you continually have the content going out there. And one thing, I know this might be a little bit of a tangent, but one thing that I've noticed too is when I release a video, I'll go email my list because I know it's a valuable video that they'll probably want. But then in like every single time I email my list, I always have like a PS. Hey, by the way, if you want to copy my business, basically going back to my webinar, my core offer. And then every time I email my list to the YouTube video, I get tons of views there. And I also get several sales into my webinar because it's like just all full circle, right?
Nice, interesting, man. I have so many questions for you. I can totally relate to the burnout because YouTube was one of the original traffic techniques that I was trying to use to get traffic, because at one point I was really broke, and I was doing 5 a week. Like
Wow.
I would literally sit down and just film all these, then I try to go edit them, because again, I was broke. I couldn't hire an editor, and we didn't really have amazing tools at the time. Like my first YouTube video was shot on my webcam, like a really terrible Logitech webcam. My second iteration of that was, remember the flip cameras? Like it's actual camera, like a flip camcorder, because everybody in the internet marketing space was using them. So I saved up some money and then got one. Then I got me a smartphone, LG, that had a 3 megapixel. Sounds so impressive back then. A 3 megapixel camera. That's back in the day when there were like the Sony Ericssons and Nokias, just kind of trying to figure out the camera aspect of it. And I mean, they all were pretty terrible. I mean, not only the video quality, but I was pretty terrible in those videos as well. But it never really took off, so I ended up moving away from it. And kind of my call to fame was solo ads, and I stepped away from YouTube. Kind of only used it really to upload testimonials from people. So if somebody looked me up, my name would be in the title and people could see that I was legit. But YouTube evolved over the years. Google took over. The algorithm changed several times over, of course. And throughout the years, I never really considered YouTube organic to be an avenue for guys like me, because I noticed this, and I don't know if you noticed this, but I noticed that you talk about marketing or business, you talk about niche stuff, you don't really go viral with that.
No. Yeah. So yeah, I can speak to that a little bit because that was a big struggle for me in the early days because I thought on YouTube in order to have success it was all about how big your following was, which by the way is not true at all. I know several people with less than 5,000 subscribers making 100K plus per month. We can talk about that here in a second, but um, so I was looking at them like, man, I'm making these videos on like the best Facebook ads for realtors or how to generate real estate leads. Then I'm looking at these other people like making videos on like make money online or personal finance videos are getting millions of views, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And I'm like, man, I got to kind of change my approach, right? And so that's where I kind of like started thinking about things a little bit differently, and even kind of like how I think about things now, right? Where I have different videos for different audiences that I'm trying to target. So like I was saying earlier, number one, high level affiliate. So I have videos that are specific for the keywords like go high level, right? Whereas like a video like that, you're not going to get a lot of views because it like the only people like actually finding those is if somebody's like literally searching out for it or if they're somewhat aware of what the name is, right? And then the software go high level helps people that are starting a digital marketing agency, right? And so you go out and like you make a video on like SMMA, social media marketing agency, a digital marketing agency. That's like that's a much bigger audience than somebody that knows specifically about the software. So then I'll make videos about that, right? And so they're aware of the industry, but they're not aware of the software. And then even go like wider and broader, I do more videos of like, hey, here's how to make $500 per day on Google, like more make money online videos where it's like that captures a super wide net of like people just looking to make money online. And then in the video, they initially like have that desire to make money online. So they click on it and they see in there, oh, the best way to make money online is this marketing agency approach, kind of the way I teach it. And then, okay, the best way to go through and like run a marketing agency is on the software go high level. So you're kind of like, so I make these three different videos because obviously there are people searching for go high level terms. There's people searching for digital marketing agency terms, but then you got the broader mass appeal of like more of the make money online crowd, which is going to pull in a lot more people, right? So that's kind of where I've kind of narrowed it down. And then I just know like when I shoot a video and release it, I'm like, I know pretty much how this is going to do. This one's probably not going to do that well. This one's going to do better. And this one's going to get the most views of all the different videos, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. And I love the way you broke it down just now. I've always looked at my entire business, and I know it's going to sound like a cliche on a marketing podcast, but I always looked at the whole business as a funnel. Because what is a funnel? A funnel starts broad at the top and narrows down towards the bottom. And when it comes to content creation, that's how you approach it. You basically become aware of the fact that different groups of people think of different levels of awareness of the problems that you solve. For example, I can't really walk up, and I experienced this in real life. Obviously, I've got two kids, and they both now go to this acting school for kids here
Oh, cool.
in Toronto. And naturally, when you're taking your kids to a school like that, you end up spending a lot of time with other parents of other children who go to the same school. I'm talking like 3-4 hours at a time, locked in a room, waiting for your kids to perform. And, naturally, a conversation comes up. Hey, Igor, what do you do? I see you drive a Porsche. I see you live in this area. What the hell do you do? And, I used to try to explain to people what is affiliate marketing, that I build email lists, but as soon as I tell people I build email lists, like, oh, you spam people, you mean?
Yeah.
It's almost like a cliche. But I realize they don't get it, because when I started talking about affiliate marketing and funnels and ads, it only elicited more questions of, because they genuinely tried to understand. And the ones who finally understood, about half of them, they kind of put me in this bucket, almost like a genius. I don't know why is that, but I remember speaking to one guy who was in finance, who deals with big investment banking, and I told him about what we do, about you refer somebody to a website, the website pays you commission, it's really nice. And he looked at me like I was Einstein, like I figured out this,
The secret
some
sauce.
dude, as like I'm a rocket engineer. He almost diminished himself in size to me. I could physically see him shrink a little bit because he thought I was such a genius. But of course, that's not true. Most people in this game are completely and totally average school dropouts, people who completely failed in everything else in life. And I've met many of these people at seminars, and then let me tell you, they're very dysfunctional. They make a lot of money, they lose all that money, then they go back, they make a lot of money again. So we'll know that we're not special. But somehow, when I talk about these technical terms, people just don't get it. But then I finally realized, wait a sec, can I really expand this? Can I kind of take a step back and have a broader conversation? So I started, telling them that, well, I figured out how to break the link between my time and my income using the internet. I say that, and all of a sudden you see their eyes light up, and they're like, wow, really? How does that work? Because they all work, they're either like a high paid self employed type, like a consultant or engineer or, I don't know, construction, or they work a job, IT, where it's like dollars for hours. So
Yep.
to them, the idea of breaking the link between time and income, so they and location, of course, which is the next stage, to them, that's a great conversation to have. All of a sudden, they're very receptive. They're listening. They're tuned in. There's no one's rolling their eyes. They really want to know. So I think the way you broke this down as far as content creation and how you need to approach YouTube, as far as the levels of awareness of an audience, and really fitting your message to the awareness that your audience has at that point in time, and really treating this like a funnel where you start up top, where you have a more broad conversation, but then you move them deeper into your world. I think that's the way to go, man. And I really, really like it.
Yeah, and just to kind of double down on that real quick. First, I'm glad that I'm not the only one that no one has any idea what I'm doing. My mother-in-law tells people like, "Oh, what's your son-in-law do?" She's like, "I have no idea, but he owns a house and he drives a Tesla, so whatever he does is working." And so, I started experimenting a little bit with TikTok, TikTok ads, and all that stuff. And when you're talking like beginner market, really simplifying things, dumbing things down for like the mass audience, like, I mean, I think that's all social media, but like, um, one of my early mentors told me, like, when you're going through and selling on a webinar, you got to make it so simple that your grandma can understand what you're selling, and like make sure your grandma's going to buy it, right? And so like, I mean, on my TikTok ads, I'm just like so simple. Like, hey, I want to show you how to make 500 bucks per day. Here's a simple business model. You get local clients, set up simple systems. You charge them 500 bucks a month. Step one, you're going to Google and you're searching in like local plumbers near me or something like that. It's like breaking it down so stupid simple, which honestly, at the end of the day, I was just at an event with Frank Kern, and Frank Kern, he breaks down so simple. It's like, you get people to a website and you get their email, you send them emails and you sell them stuff. Like, that's all we
Dude,
do.
Frank Kern is the single greatest simplifier of marketing pitches who I
Yeah,
think ever graced this planet. Like,
yeah,
to this day, I attend his webinars, and I've been a customer of his like since forever, since like 15 years ago. But he didn't change
yep,
one bit. Like, most recently, he released one about email and AI, and it's still the same. It's like, hey, dude, it's so great and groovy, dude. It's like sending simple emails, bro. And it's so nonchalant, and like the
yep,
surfer dude impressions that he's making, almost like the Big Lebowski. you know it's I find it fascinating the way he does it. and he can do it like with Fortune 500 CEOs too, right? It's not just with mass market, it's also like with any level of business. I mean, so cool how he does it. I just love it.
Oh, for sure, man. And it's interesting that you bring that up because I know what webinar you're talking about because he's selling his own white labeled version of High Level. So that's what he's doing there. And but yeah, anyway, I heard him talk about the whole presentation, and it's just so he just like it's almost like he's talking down on himself of like he's dumb and stupid. And you're like, no, you're actually like genius, know exactly what you're doing. But yeah, man. Anyway,
No, I think it does take a genius to simplify it the way he does it.
yep,
It almost makes me want to steal that offer because I've seen it, I've seen the pitch, and I'm looking at it, and I was like, all there is a bunch of email campaigns
yeah,
loaded into a piece of software.
yeah,
Like if I could take my GetResponse account and duplicate it for someone else, that's like what's happening, and it's like so brilliant. I know that that's what people want,
yep,
and my crowd is obviously into list building. I mean, listeners to this show, they all talk to me about my emails, how they read them, how great they are, and I see a lot of them point blank, copy pasting them too. So might as well. I think no, I think Frank Kern is to this day one of the most brilliant marketers out there. I mean, this doesn't take it away from guys like Russell Brunson and Anik Singhal, of course, but Frank Kern has a category of his own in the way that he does it. He has this unique. Why am I making this episode about Frank Kern? I've got such a great guest. We should really put the spotlight back on you.
all good, man. All
Anyway,
good.
so
He's-
if I'm getting your strategy right, and you tell me if I am, you're basically starting them off either from an organic video or from an ad. So it can start either way, but it all leads to your retargeting audience, retargeting pixel, which means you can, run more ads to them again. But in addition, it also leads to your list because every call to action will inevitably lead to a capture page, a page that captures their email address.
Yep.
And once they're on your list, you will then send them lots of organic YouTube videos that are on your channel, which I'm assuming some of them got released a couple of years ago, some of them are more recent. And you will kind of win good karma points, the way Frank Kern would say it.
Yep.
You win good karma points with them by sending them to your content that is still designed to give some value first, but then transition them to your offer to copy your agency.
Exactly, man. And I've had people, email me later and be like, man, I bought your stuff just because your free content was so good. I just was like, how good was your paid content? Or like other people like, dude, I got to 10K a month just off your free YouTube video. So honestly, I don't hold anything back on YouTube. Like I share pretty much everything. It's just inside the paid program, I just make it more like step by step and just like all together. But yeah, I mean, like my whole goal is like if somebody gets in my world, I want to drip all these like quality videos that like, and the cool thing is now, especially like since I have an audience or since I have been doing this for a while, I can see which videos have higher watch time, higher click-through rates, more views. And then those are the videos that I place higher in the drip feed because I'm like, people really resonate with this video. So I'm going to put that at the very top. Like my first drip video is going to be this number one highest performing that like everyone showed. Cause like sometimes I'll shoot a video and I'm like, I don't like, no one's going to really watch this. This is like, I just kind of threw this together last minute and then it takes off. And then another time I'm like, man, this video is so good. I'm sharing so much good stuff. And then it gets like 1,000 views. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of a dud. Right. And so then now that I have all this data of like, well, this one has 50,000 views, average 6 minutes watch time, high click-through rate. And I'm like, I'm putting this right at the very top because I know that email subject line is going to get good clicks because it got good clicks on YouTube. Right. And then all like the whole offering around is going to get good click-through rate inside the email. So more people are going to watch it. And then it just builds that goodwill and that rapport with people. And they're like, man, this is, so it's basically like showing your best self first, right? And you're able to, and so over the years, I've obviously like switched up how I follow up and which videos perform better. And like, oh man, this is a new one. I'm going to go throw that in the sequence that, because this is performing better than the other one I had in there. And so it's just, kind of building over time.
Yeah. And, like, I'm happy that you mentioned that because I think one of the most underrated testing methods in the world is your email list. Like a lot of people don't know this, but my book title, A List Building Lifestyle Confessions of an Email Millionaire, Confessions of an Email Millionaire is actually one of the most successful subject lines I've ever mailed my list.
Mm,
So, in other words, I was once having a conversation with John Carlton, and he was telling me how when you're publishing a book, one of the most important things about it is the title. The title alone has to carry the book
yeah.
because people often buy the books. It's an emotional purchase. I mean, I myself am guilty of that, where I would buy books and not read them. My Kindle is full of them. There's a whole, hundreds and hundreds of books that I purchased just because the title sounded nice.
Hmm.
And when you're deciding on a title for a book, when you're deciding on a headline for an offer, when you're deciding on a YouTube video title, I think one of the easiest things you can do is look at your subject lines and see which ones generated higher open rates,
Yeah.
and that these will be the top performers.
Yeah.
I think Tim Ferriss, I remember listening to one of his talks, and he said that the 4-Hour Workweek title was actually a winning Google AdWords
Hmm. He did
ad title,
yeah,
right?
tested with Google Ads. I remember hearing that too.
So I think that's amazing that we now have the capability and the data to always put our best selves first. Because I remember when I was doing lots of face-to-face selling and on the phone selling, one thing that I would always do is I would find my choir pitch. I would really nail down exactly how the conversation needs to go, the exact tone of the questions, the exact pitch and everything, and then I would just stop doing it. So I'm really appreciative of the fact that we can use content and automation in order to put our best selves first. It's like, sometimes I would like have a conversation with a joint venture partner who wants to promote our e-farming offer. And, I would be like, okay, well, we've got this webinar and you can run it. And they're like, oh, cool. So you and me are going to, do it live. And I'm like, no, because I've got this perfect webinar. I've
Yep.
got this perfect version of this webinar, and that's the one we're going to run. If you have me come on live, I'm going to screw it up. You don't want that. We
Yep.
better run this one. So I'm a big believer in finding that one good version, the best version possible, and then using that through technology rather than constantly having to deliver things yourself.
100% agree, man. Yeah, dude. I'm with you on the perfect version of the webinar. I released a new webinar at the beginning of this year. Very like this has never happened to me, but the very first rendition of the webinar has been the top performer. And I've tried
Oh,
price points,
okay.
payment plans, different like adding on bonuses and all that stuff to try to beat it. And I'm just like, I keep going back. So now I'm just at a point where I'm like, I'm not gonna mess with it. This one, like, I don't know how I did it perfect the first time, but like it. Luckily, I did. So I'm not making any tests anymore with it.
Yeah, well, sometimes just because of your experience, intuition, you hit something like that. I think that's great. I don't think it happens too often, and I
No,
don't think it
and that's
happens to
I will,
most
I
of
will
us.
say this for the audience listening. I've been doing webinars live for the last 6 years, almost every single week, and so I've had several other webinars that have done multiple millions. And so for me to do that, first of all, after even all that experience, I think is a total fluke, super lucky. And if you're brand new to webinars, that's 1000% not going to be the case and not going to ever happen.
That's totally not going to happen unless you're like a really experienced professional in a niche
Yes.
and you're simply transferring what you've already been doing into a webinar format. In that case, I think you'll be just fine. But when you're building something new, like you mentioned, you had to transition from just owning a SaaS to going into teaching people, etc. Um, that's just gonna take a lot of work. I remember speaking to Jason Fladley, who I would say today is considered to be one of the top webinar marketers in the
100%.
world.
Yeah.
Him and maybe Anik Singhal and a few others. Well, he said that you treat your webinar as a living, breathing organism, right? You never really treat it as a sales letter or something like that, because you're always going to be tweaking it until you finally get it to condition, at which point, thankfully, we now have the technology to automate the crap out of it. and that I think is a blessing, because at one point I found myself kind of like you doing a webinar a week.
Mm.
I couldn't go, like I couldn't go on for more than 3 months. Like I started getting sick. I felt exhausted. I didn't want to do anything in between. Like I really felt I procrastinated about pretty much everything other than doing the live webinar. It also got old real quick. You know what I mean? Like you're doing the same thing over and over again, over and over again.
Dude, I did
It's
I
like
did
at
the
some
same
point,
same one live for 3.5 years. So I resonate with you on all of that. And yeah, dude, when I would get, there would be times like I would get, and I feel like this happened like every 3 months, where I would get sick and I'd like lose my voice, and I'm just that's my moneymaker. Like, how am I actually gonna like make money? Because like my voice is what is like gonna actually deliver the sale. So yeah, lots of stressful times doing it live every week, but it was helped me refine my skills and get better at it for sure.
yeah, yeah. In this case, like with the webinars, I think if there's one area where doing it more makes you better, I think webinars is definitely that, as long as you're willing to constantly tweak it and try out new things. Um, Same as I guess with video. Like when you film 5 videos a week, you're gonna get better at it very quickly. Um, okay, well, I we don't really have much time left. However, we didn't even touch on your list. There's so many different questions I want to ask you. Like, for example, how often do you mail your list?
So right now I have like when somebody comes new into my world, I have drip campaigns, and I'm always working on this. I'm always tweaking different things. Kind of like you said, like webinars, living organism. I feel like my list, my follow up sequence is a living organism. Always testing
Yeah.
different things. So I kind of right now I have like three core promos that I push back to back. So one of them being the webinar, one of them being like, hey, sign up for high level, and then another one being like, hey, basically pushing to like a daily demo, like a live demo of the high level software, right? To get on and be
Yeah.
able to just like get more people on, because that's like kind of the monthly recurring base, which is something I'm always looking to grow. And so that's the first few weeks of people getting on, and then ideally like it kind of just depends on how lazy I am that week. Ideally, I like to do release a podcast episode every week, because it just gives me a reason to mail my list without just like asking for something, but it's delivering value. So that's like at least one time per week. And then most of this year, I've been doing 2 long form YouTube videos per week, which is just me, but it's also adding value. So just more reasons to email my list. So there's 3 times right there. And then so yeah, it's been more like 3 times a week. I would say, I know some people might be like, oh, that's a lot. Like I would probably email them something every day if I had like a good reason to email them every day, of offering value, because I just noticed, I'm sure you've noticed this too, like the more you mail, the more money you make. And um, one thing that, going back to Frank Kern, he was just speaking at an event I was at, and he was just saying how, no one's paying attention to you. No one's paying attention to you. So even if you're mailing all the time, like no one's really paying attention. And if you've heard the study where it's like in marketing, you have to have someone see your message like 7 times before they buy. I think it was Google, because this was at the same conference. Google just did a new study, and they've updated that number, where somebody has to see your marketing message 700 times on average before they buy. And so
Wow.
because they're just inundated with ads on all the social media platforms, emails, your drive, just like everything is ad based nowadays. And so going to like combining Frank Kern's "no one's paying attention to you" and then also the Google study of like they have to see some 700 times, like we need to be more present. We need to be more in their face. And in the sense of like, email is just like one touch point. And then if you are emailing like a YouTube video, they click on that, they watch your YouTube video, that's another touch point right there. And then if you're retargeting them with an ad on your own YouTube video, there's another touch point, right? And it's just like, then you have them click to your website. That's another, so like, it's just a way to get multiple touch points. And so they're thinking about you, you can add more value, but you're not always going for the sale on every single email, right?
Yeah, yeah, okay. That makes perfect sense. Like a lot of my emails will invite people to webinars, will invite them to watch free videos, things like that. Like I'm a great believer in what I once heard Russell Brunson say, where your pitch has to have value in it. Kind of like, what you're doing on YouTube, when you're like, look, guys, here's a way to make money. You start an agency, you offer a service, you bring in clients, right? So you are offering value. You don't go deep. It's kind of like this phrase that said, I think Joe Polish loves to say it, where it's like you give him the what, but you don't give him the how, or something like that. Like you conceptually break things down without breaking down the detail of how to implement it, because the implementation part, they can either go figure it out themselves, or they can now work with you.
Yep.
Right. So that's really been a big realization for me over the years, that people will want to know more before buying, but when it comes to doing the work, a lot of them have this self-doubt that drives them to want to seek help. So if you're clearly articulating what outcome you're able to help them create, and you can clearly show them conceptually how that will be created without going into detail of the mechanics, you already have what it takes to build a business out of it. Whether the solution is a software, or whether the solution is information, and whether this software information is yours or an affiliate solution. So, okay, we really have to wrap it up, but I do want to ask you one more question, and that's I don't know if you want to give us the exact number, or maybe a ballpark figure, maybe a range, but being a number one Go High level affiliate, what does that look like at the end of the month in your bank account?
Yeah, great question. So it like the nice thing is it builds every month, right? But I'll just from my high level affiliate commissions, I'll do over $1 million per year. So
Wow.
yeah, so yeah,
And that's not even your product. This is crazy.
yeah, so over $1
$1
million bucks
million
a
a year, not even your
yeah,
product.
and so that number continues to grow. I think next year will probably be closer to like 1.5, probably for the year, would be my guess.
Damn it. Damn it. I really hope no one's from the IRS is listening.
Yeah.
Not sure if there's anyone tuning in to the list building lifestyle.
Oh, yeah.
But wow, that's incredible. I mean, that just goes to show you that again, affiliate marketing is such an amazing model. And it what I love about it, it doesn't intrude or cut in to anything else you got going on, because you can have $1 million a year affiliate income while having $1 million a year income with your own products and services. So it's truly a model that anyone can implement into anything they got going on. And today there's probably more opportunities to do that than ever, because everybody needs tools and help and software and all kinds of resources. So, and you know what's funny? I come from this industry, right? So my exposure to business was through the internet marketing industry. Yeah. But every now and again, I would be talking to an offline business owner, and I would bring up the concept of affiliate marketing, as in, say, somebody's a lawyer who handles, transactions like real estate transactions, and I was like, why don't you refer people to a particular mortgage broker and have them cut you in, because they get like a pretty big commission. Yeah. If they help get a mortgage for like $1 million property, they can cut you into their $20,000 commission from the bank, and everyone's against it because apparently there's like rules or some legalities around, kicking back. There are. No, it's and I'm like, this is so dumb. This is so dumb. Like, this is what the internet is built on. Like, entire companies like Credit Karma. Credit Karma, I was just discussing this yesterday. Credit Karma is built on affiliate marketing and CPA. They built this service that people can use for free to know what their credit is, and then they pitch you with all these credit card offers. So if you sign for a credit card, guess what? Credit Karma is going to get a CPA for that. Yeah. Right?
There you go, man.
I really think a lot of people offline are missing out, and I really think they should be utilizing affiliate marketing as a second, third, fourth, fifth stream of income. Anyway, I can really keep picking your brain for hours and hours because it's so easy, to talk to you, but we can't. There's airtime. I got a producer who will get on my case. So tell us, where can we go find more, content about what you do? Maybe check out your clone my agency offer. What's your YouTube channel? Give us the
Yeah,
scoop.
man. So yeah, just find me on YouTube. It's probably the easiest way. Just my name, Jason Wardrop. Wardrop is war and then drop, kind of the compound word there. And or you could go jasonwardrop.com. That's going to have kind of like my stuff of like cloning my real estate agency and kind of like the high level bonuses, extended free trials, all that stuff. So yeah, that's probably the best way. jasonwardrop.com, or just find me on YouTube, Jason Wardrop, and it's got links out to everywhere. You guys can get in my funnel, see how I do everything with the email list build and all that stuff.
You heard him, guys. So the link to jasonwardrop.com and to Jason's YouTube channel will be in the show notes, which you can get on our website at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or Amazon Music or Amazon Audible, so you can just head over to our website and go get that. If not, then just go to YouTube and then search for Jason Wardrop. And I'm pretty sure there's only one. So you go ahead and check him out. He's releasing videos every week. You will also be able to see how he structures his content. One thing that the reason I recommend actually to go and subscribe to your channel is because one skill that I think really helped me over the years is modeling. Not so much creating.
Yep.
Like I'm not an extremely creative person, but I'm good at modeling. So whenever I would come across a great content creator like yourself, I would actually start consuming their content so I can better model a successful way of producing content.
100%.
I did the exact same thing with emails. Guys like Frank Kern, guys like Ben Settle. The only person that I couldn't, to be frank with you, the only person I couldn't model ever was Andre Chaperon because of his crazy soap opera sequences that
Oh
were so
yeah,
complicated.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I could never copy that. But simplistic approaches like Kern, like Ben Settle, like a lot of people out there, that's something I can handle. And so that's why I really encourage you guys to go to YouTube right now, search for Jason Wardrop. You'll also, I think, will end up on his retargeting list. And so you'll start seeing his ads, which are pretty cool. Again, very simplistic, yet very
yep.
effective. And you should check him out. Get on his email list, whether because you want to start an agency, a profitable agency, because definitely you're the guy to go to for that. I know there's lots of agency guys out there, but you're solid. I know you are. And also because you'll be able to, again, get inspired by really good, solid marketing, content, emails, and a solid approach too. So again, that's jasonwardrop.com, or you can go to YouTube and search for Jason Wardrop, get on his channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification thingy. Okay, I don't have to tell you, you should just do it. And Jason, before we wrap up, any last sort of piece of advice to your younger self, perhaps? Like if you go back in time, maybe 5-10 years, and you could meet with yourself in person and say one thing, give one advice, what would that be?
One would be just keep going is one, and then two, like list out all the things that I was doing and cross out everything that doesn't actually move the lever and just focus on the core things that move the lever. And so the three core things that last thing I'll leave you guys with that like I make sure I'm doing on a daily, weekly basis that actually move the lever. And if I do these three things, pretty much everything else is going to work itself out and I can live a pretty good lifestyle. One, make sure I'm consistently running some paid ads because I'm need to build that email list, right? Need to go through and grow my leads database every single day. If I'm releasing at least one YouTube video every single week, so I'm keeping new, fresh content, adding value to my community. And then number three is emailing my list every single week, right? So those three things, like if I continue to focus on like, okay, make a new YouTube video for this week or a couple YouTube videos, right? make sure I'm consistently running ads, and then make sure that I'm consistently emailing about new things, new videos, all that stuff. All pretty much, like, it sounds very simple, but it is simple. Like, those are the core things. And then obviously you got support and all that stuff on the back end. But like, I got VAs right now to go do all that for pennies on the dollar compared to like what you pay someone in the US or Canada. So yeah, keep it simple, keep pushing forward, and focus on the things that actually move the needle.
There you have it, guys. Keep building and mailing your list. I've been saying this for years, so don't even take it from me anymore. Here's another really smart individual who made it, tells you the exact same thing. So here's a clue. Again, if you want to find out more about Jason and work with him or model him or study him or just hang out, you can go to YouTube, search for Jason Wardrop, or you can go to jasonwardrop.com, where you can actually take a deeper look into what he's got going on, what he can teach you, and how he can help you start your own agency if you're interested in doing that. So that's about it for now. Thank you so much, Jason, for being on the show, for taking the time. And until next time we chat, have a good one.